Welcome to the Brave Women at Work podcast. This is your host, Jen Pastikas. I'm so glad you're here. With the Brave Women at Work podcast, you'll get the resources and tips along with real-world stories and humor to empower and inspire you to take bolder and braver actions in your career and life. Welcome to the Brave Women at Work podcast. This is your host, Jen Pastikas. I'm so glad you're here. Well, hey everyone, how are you doing out there? So have you ever thought about the concept of baggage at work? So I have a dear friend, Pam, shout out for her, that always tells me, wherever you go, there you are. And I think about it all the time. So that means to me is if you don't do the lessons, like if you don't do the work, if you don't learn from where you've been, you're going to bring everything with you, all of those unlearned lessons from job to job, company to company, relationship to relationship, because wherever you go, there you are. You're bringing your habits, your patterns, and all of that mental and emotional baggage. You feel me? This is I've been like this, on and off my whole life where I thought, "Oh, it's so and so's fault or it's this company or it's this position." And then at one point you get into your career and you have to look at yourself cold, hard stare in the mirror and go, "Hey, maybe there's some stuff that I have to clean up my side of the street on before I keep pointing the finger." So that question on baggage is a big part of our conversation with my guest today, Tamara McLemore. And we chatted about that concept as well as much more on thinking about baggage, releasing baggage, and how releasing it will help us take control of our careers. So we also chatted about how Tamara became an accidental project manager, what Tamara's definition is of corporate baggage. You've heard mine, now you're going to hear hers. How we can drop that baggage and how we let roles that don't serve us kind of take control, like office mom. And speaking about moms, Tamara has a really good way she deals with her clients, maybe that don't want to move by, leaning into our caregiver. So many of us listening probably are moms or caregivers, right? She gives us kind of a technique on that as well. And I wanted to dive into her project management certification and her work with women and what it's all about. We also kind of ran the gamut because I talk a lot about this, like about getting paid as a project manager and how we're not afraid to ask for what we're worth. So here's more about Tamara. Tamara McLemore is the accidental project manager. She has over 20 years of experience in tech, wireless, software application, and infrastructure project management for the United States federal government, airline and travel, banking and mortgage, and raw material industries, leading and advising programs and projects upwards of 150 million in budget. And guess what? Tamara has a degree in journalism. So she, even with a degree in journalism, right? And I have a double foreign language degree, and here I am a podcaster, right? So sometimes where you start is not where you end. She was able to learn and master the art of planning, execution, implementation, and risk management, even though she had a different kind of a start to her. She's been working with amazing companies and individuals, identifying that innate project management strength and developing those talents into high performance individuals that equate to high performing organizations. So, if the Brave Woman at Work podcast has helped you or made some sort of impact personally or professionally, please be sure to leave a rating and review in the Apple Podcasts app. And if you've already left a rating and a review, I just so appreciate it. As a podcaster, it can be kind of isolating, right? Because it's like radio. I'm sharing my heart to you all. I'm sharing these interviews, and you just kind of sharing back to me whether you want to do it in the rating side or if you want to send me a suggestion at hello@bravewomanatwork.com. It makes it feel more like a two-way conversation. It's super motivating for me. So if you can support me with with a rating, a review, or even some feedback at my email again at hello@bravewomanatwork.com. I would appreciate it. Also, if you haven't yet downloaded any of my freebies from my website, you can check them out at bravewomanatwork.com. So I have 5 ways to managing your imposter syndrome, getting paid, 10 negotiation tips, and 24 career and leadership affirmations. And like I've said on my show in the past, they're workbook style. So I want you to be able to take notes. I want you to be able to write in them, make them your own. And like I said, they are free. So go grab them at my website. One last announcement. I'm so pumped about this, everybody. So you have heard, if you've been a longtime listener, that I am co hosting a conference here in the Chicago area with Hope Mueller of Climb Conferences and Natalie Benamou of her C-Suite. And one thing that we are super jazzed about announcing is that we have a keynote speaker named Erin Gallagher, who is an absolute, I'm going to swear, she's an absolute badass. And she has written a book that's coming out in October. I believe it's October 14th of this year, called Hype Women. And she's just got so much amazing energy and she's got the goods to back it up. So she's got over 20 years of experience in global marketing, business development, organizational, and cultural change. She's also the CEO, two-time CEO, and the founder of Ella, which is an inclusive network to help expand women's access to human, social, and financial capital. And then, of course, the book adjoins a podcast and an entire movement so that we can all be hype women. So I'm really excited to hear her live. Would love for you to also join us at the conference. And you can learn more and register at thrive-in25, the numbers 25.com. Again, that's thrive-in25.com. All right, let's welcome Tamara to the show. Well, hello, Tamara. Welcome to Brave Woman at Work. How are you today?
Thank you, Jen. I'm super excited to be on your show. I listened to it. I'm super excited to drop some gems to your audience. Let's
Woo!
get started. Let's get started.
Let's get started. I haven't had anybody say, let's drop some jams. And we were just talking, everybody, if you are watching this on YouTube, she has an awesome sign. And I say this every now and again. I'm kind of a big deal. So we're both kind of a big deal. And you, listener, are kind of a big deal as we get started. So, Tamara, I love women's stories. I mean, why would I be doing this podcast if I didn't love women's stories? So it's a big question, but tell me a little bit about your background. What has led you here? You can start from anywhere. You just don't take up like the whole hour on me, but like you can start anywhere.
Okay, so really quick, I have been in technology project management for over 20 years. I started with the old mom pop Bell South. I used to work for Ericsson, doing the switches and the cell sites. I worked for the federal government. I worked for one of the major airlines. Why does that matter? Because that is a male-dominated industry. And believe it or not, Jen, I have a journalism degree. And so I really had to be brave and learn technology, learn project management, learn IT, and I love it. And since COVID, I call this my COVID baby. I've been teaching project management full time. More importantly, teaching women how to get and stay in project management and how to pass the PMP certification the first time and within 30 days. So that is my new joy, and I'm super excited because I feel like a third grade teacher. Like I get to see the fruits of my labor. It's different in corporate, but when you're teaching, you get to see women in your community get raises, get promotions, and that's what really warms my heart. When I want to quit and fire myself, I get somebody with a $30,000-$40,000 promotion, and I'm like, okay, I need more of that. I need more of that. So that's what
Oh,
I'm doing.
that's cool. That's cool. And so we're going to talk a little bit about PMP, not the whole time, but we're going to talk a little bit about. So, what is PMP for my folks that may not be familiar with it?
It is the highly sought after project management professional certification. It used to be traditionally for federal government, IT, technical fields, but now everybody is requiring it. Higher ed, fintech, banking, Everybody is requiring it, even healthcare. So all the fields are
Mhm.
now requiring it. So that's what I've been doing lately.
Yes, we have a at my corporate position. We have it's not me. I do not have a PMP at this time. But what I will say is we have a project management office.
Yes.
So I know that our person has a PMP, right? So I was familiar with it, but I have not met someone that certifies. So that's amazing that you found your baby right in this phase, of your career. Well, I got to though back up a little bit. So you said, okay, I was in journalism, and then I'm like ending up as a project manager. Like, how did that happen?
It's funny enough, you would like this story since you're from Chicago. My aunt used to work for MCI WorldCom. And
Oh,
so
yeah,
I just dated myself just because I know that
me
company.
too. I know it too. We're good.
And so when I graduated, the economy wasn't its best. And I didn't really, I was good at writing, but I'm like, I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be a gopher getting people's coffee because that back then you had to do that to work
Yes,
your way up the ranks. And I was like, I'm tired of being a broke college student. I don't want to be a broke working person. And so
yes.
my aunt was like, you need to get in tech. And I'm like, what is tech? And she was like, just follow me, basically. And MCI WorldCom moved her to Atlanta, and she just encouraged me to work with the company. And within 6 months, I was a full-time project manager. It moved up really quickly because tech was, just starting. This is a time where everybody doesn't have cell phones. Mostly rich
Mhm.
people, business people, we had
Yes.
pagers, back in the day. So I
They
really
had remember the bag phone? Remember the big bag?
Oh, way back Wednesday or Throwback Thursday, I'll sometime post a picture of myself with that. So, so that's how I accidentally got into it. It was just back then you kind of deal with your family members or somebody that you respected what they told you to do. You didn't really question it, and thank God I didn't.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, right? Like we question everything now. And back then we were like, okay, okay, you want me to get an attack? I'll get an attack. It worked out for you though. It worked out.
Absolutely.
Sometimes that blind faith like leads us in interesting and really fruitful directions, right? You never know. So one of the things I kind of scoured and devoured your site, and one of the things you talk about is corporate baggage. And I'm just wondering if you might share, how much have you carried? And then I can trade stories with you about how much I've carried and like maybe what my baggage is. So tell me about that.
It's heavy, and I know that I carried it because I've had to quit some jobs. The term quiet quitting is
Yes.
all I've been doing that for years. Like I have checked out, and that's one of the other reasons why I got my PMP certification, because I'm like, I have got to quit them. This is a bad relationship. It's a borderline abusive relationship. I got to get out of it. However, what you don't realize is when you go to your next job, you take that. So if somebody says something to you, you're like, ugh, it triggers you. If you've been in therapy, you know what these words are. And so it is real. They chip away at you. You stop raising your hand, asking for these stretch projects. You stop being so happy and bubbly. Jen, I will tell you that somebody when I worked, I'm not gonna say who I worked for, but they complained that I was too daggone happy. You're
They actually
laughing.
said that in your review, like you're too happy.
So they actually went to management and reported me. And so management brought me in and they're like, yeah, don't know what to do with this. But it was brought to my attention that you speak to everybody in the morning and you say hi and good morning and you're just smiling all the time.
Weird. So freaking weird. Okay, go ahead.
So when you talk about chipping, the baggage, it just weighs on you. So you start being a skeleton of yourself. And my husband started calling me a transformer. He's like, because you're like an actress during the day, because we work together. He's like, you're a different person in the evening. I had to be because I was performing. And so
Wow.
when I started coaching other women, it was way bad for them because at least I knew and recognized and tried to correct it. If you don't even know you're carrying the baggage from the first job all the way to your 30s, 40s, 50s, good Lord, that's a lot of baggage.
Yes. So I'll give a quick story on corporate baggage that I think I got rid of, but who knows? And we're going to talk about how it prevents us, right? Like how it can hold us back. So I had a situation, again, not naming the company, where I always was like a gold star chaser, right? You know,
Me
Tam,
too.
right? It was like, I want a good performance review. And this was the first time in my life, right? It was like, I had a performance review and my higher level manager in the C suite, he was like, I don't think you're the right fit for this job. Like flat out just told me. And I was like, okay. And he was like, and then he talked about my personality, like you're a maverick and like all this kind of stuff. And I was like, don't you guys kind of need a little bit of like a shake of maverick, a shake of innovator? And he was just like poo-pooing it, like, no, no, no. And so I came home and I told my husband that I needed to shapeshift basically. And I kind of like fell into what I knew after that conversation he wanted while I was like kind of
Yep.
going on to my next, like kind of planning out my next step. But it did take a toll on me. But what's interesting is that like as we were going along, as I changed my like self and like stretched my personality like Gumby, he was like, it's whatever you've done. It's like really improved, like all this kind of stuff, which I'm just like, really? Like my whole performance has not changed. It's just like you don't like my personality. And because I changed my personality, now you like me.
Wow. And I got a lot of that. So you are triggering me because I got a lot of that from corporation to corporation that did not appreciate me. And so when you talk about the corporate baggage, it is a relationship, and we have to understand, get out that bad relationship, and we need to interview these companies just like we interview a spouse or a partner. This is a full-time relationship. We are there 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week for how many weeks and months and years. And so I had to look at it different to say, no, no,
Hmm.
the relationship is not just give, 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 it's a give and take. So that's how I was able to overcome it and coach some of my women.
Okay, that's really good. So, one of the things also that you talk about is that if you carry that corporate baggage, whether it's in the same job or from job to job, it can actually cap you from getting paid more, maybe more benefits, getting promoted. How so? Or what have you seen with some of the women that you coach?
This week, the past 2 weeks alone, women don't want to, when they get their job offers, they're not even excited because they're like, but they're going, is this real? Is this I'm like, it's in black and white. It's a job offer. They can't even accept that a company wants them and wants to pay them six figures in this economy. Why are they chosen? And so it has really done a number on their self-esteem. They don't want to negotiate. They just want to accept the first offer. And if you know
Oh,
anything, I just
that
cringe.
makes me like upset. Like it actually hurts my heart, right?
Yes. And I have clients that have multiple offers. And as we're recording this economy is jacked up. I
It's
mean,
jacked. Yes.
it's jacked. And so to get multiple offers, you are a star. Clear.
Yes.
And so that's what it's done. It has really broken their self-esteem. And they really show up as a shell of themselves. And so what I've been having them to do is, if this new acronym, IRL, in real life. So go
Yes, in real life. Yes.
in real life. So they're going out networking to the networking in real life so that they can shed some of this baggage to say, oh my God, I am really the bomb in this technology. I am really the bomb in this field, and really help themselves feel more whole again, if that makes sense. It's the exercise
Yes.
I'm
So
doing.
and the reason you're saying in real life is that I mean, yes, I love that we're getting to talk like on this technology, but there's nothing like giving someone a hug in person. There's nothing like hearing from your other women in your posse saying like, you know what, you really are awesome, right? There's nothing like that. Is that why you were saying in real life?
Absolutely. And when a stranger tells you that, because these
Oh,
networking events, they're for tech, healthcare, whatever industry you're in, and you meet people and they're like, oh, Jen, you do this, this, and this. Oh, that's amazing. That really gives them a boost of confidence. They're like, this person doesn't even know me, but based on the introduction and a 10-15 minute, networking event, they gathered that from me. And so it really does do a boost of confidence. So I've been doing way more of that.
That's really, really good. I actually did another tip for those that may have like board of directors or a group of women that can lift each other up. I think we all need that right now. Is that I did an exercise last night where like popcorn style, like where we each kind of just like showered each other with compliments, right? So it was like, every person gets a minute and be like, oh, and then in the chat, it was like, she's awesome. She's brave. She's smart. She's da, da, da. And like, you could take screenshots of that. So when you are like kind of carrying your corporate baggage around, you kind of have like, oh, well, like, look at what other people see in me, even in Zoom or in an online community, which I thought was a really cool idea.
It is. I had one person, I said, if you say that and I only one more time on this call, I'm going to have you write 100 times, I am a badass. I was so mad. So yeah, we got to stop that. We got to stop
We
that.
have to stop that. So basically what I'm hearing from you is that when you're carrying corporate baggage around, it will silence you. It will make you stop asking for like maybe a negotiation. It will avoid, you will avoid being in the rooms where you can be seen and heard. You will not go for the promotion because like with the old adage, you don't think that you have all of the skills or you've got to have more, or go back to school or whatever, all that stuff.
All of that. All of that. Yeah.
Okay. So, and I'm, putting that plug back in for the PMP here. Like we want people to get PMP. We want, you to get the promotion. We want you to get more money. We want you to get, and when I say we want you to get the more money, I just want to clarify here. I want you to get paid like to the point where you can't believe what your paycheck is.
Say that again.
Yeah. For the people in the back, right? I want you to get paid to the point where you can't believe what you get paid. That's what I want.
I love it because oh my God, I just don't even know what to say about that. That is the feeling that I want women in my community or all women to feel because these little, 3, 4%, it's like they're being underpaid so by so much. They have to get $30,000, $40,000 increases just to get what they're currently worth. And so, oh, I love it, Jen. I love it.
Yeah. So, a couple things I want everybody to know is that there's something called in Illinois, it's pay transparency. So I don't know in your state if you have pay transparency or not,
Ah,
but in Illinois we have pay transparency now. So they have to give you the min and well, there's marketing in there, the min and the max of the job, right? But they can mess around with like the ranges and stuff like that. But still, more information than you had before. Okay. And what I will tell you is that you may think you're getting paid well now, but I would ask this question, and maybe we're a little late on the review, but who cares, right? Like mid-year, who cares? Just ask. I would ask for your range at your company to see what HR says. Like get them a little scared, get them a little nervous, right?
yeah.
And then I would ask where you fall on the range. I would ask like, are you in the low tail? Are you in the midpoint? Or are you on the higher tail? And if they're willing to give you that information, you have everything you need to know for your negotiation. Because if you've been there 5, 10 years and you're not even at the midpoint, we've got problems.
Houston, we have a problem. Yes. And Jen, as you're speaking, that is great. And I tell my women to go even a step further.
Tell
And when
me.
I say that they cringe, now listen up. This is why I make the money that I make. Are you listening? Every job that I had, corporate and federal, I've always had a white male mentor that has shared his salary and his bonuses with me.
That's awesome. Now tell
And
me why. Tell me why.
because they're at the top of the range. And so
Yes.
if they're able to share that with you, you can definitely gauge where you need to be. And people talk about me, well, Tamara, why are you, letting talking money with this stranger and he's a male and he's a white male? And I'm like, I'm trying to put you on game. That is how I'm able to get my promotions, my raises. They coach me on getting recognition, on speaking up for myself, and they've just really been an advocate. So that's who has mentored me my whole 25-year career. And that's why I'm at where I'm at today.
So did you purposely, so how did you know that when you're talking like, we're talking MCI WorldCom days, right? Like that was, maybe you knew, I don't know. I didn't know. I was still following like, and I'm a white lady, right? Like I was still following, like bowing down to the white man, right? Like, and all that. I didn't know to get a white male mentor. How did you know to do that?
So my aunt told me that because she had one and she was an international brand manager. So that was the first thing she told me to do that. And they're going to help you with investing and your bonus structure and all of that negotiation. But then I
Yes.
did my first real job Ericsson is not a US based company. They're a European company. And so they think different. And I'm not going to tell this long drawn out story, but basically, I got chewed out for not asking for a bonus and a raise because I was doing so much work. And they actually
Mm.
brought me in the office and scolded me and said they're going to ding my performance review if I do not ask for a significant raise based on my contribution. And I was
Wow.
like, excuse me? They were like, yes, you have contributed XYZ versus this person. And they had the nerve to ask, and you didn't ask. And so I was coached really, really early in my early 20s. And it just, I think I just hit the jackpot with this.
I
And
think
so
you did.
I,
Yeah.
and so I've always had that my whole career. And the mistake that I made was I thought all women did this. I thought everybody did this. And
No.
now I know.
No, yeah, like you and I, like we're like, no, like we've got to bring all the women with us, right? So, okay, there are women who are saying, yes, this is all good. I want to get paid, and I just want you to let that sink in one more time. Like, I want you to get paid to the point where you're like, oh my word, I cannot believe, but then I want you to believe that you're worth it, right? So, like, the problem though is this corporate baggage stuff. So I wanted to kind of move into with the women you work with, women I work with, like, how do you get them to drop that junk, that baggage? Because we can talk it, we can
Yeah,
speak it,
yeah,
but if
yeah.
you don't believe you're worthy of actually going to table and asking for a mentor, like, like the white male mentor, or more money, or the company to pay for your PMP certification, or whatever, like you're not gonna, get it. So how do you get them to drop some of that baggage?
Oh, so my little secret sauce is I always ask if they have children, if they have
Hmm.
kids. I know you're like, or if
Hmm.
they're
Hmm.
taking care of aging parents or things like that. Because a lot of times women will not do it for themselves, not starting out, but they'll do it for other people. And so if my women with kids in private school, they want to put their kids in private school, they need an additional car for their teenager, they have college tuition. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be able to get them because then they can ask for more money. I'm not pushing them for themselves because that's the hard therapy part they have to work through. But they'll do it for their kids. They'll do it for their aging parents, for their medications, for other people. So that's how I started until
Hmm.
they become used to it. I backdoor it basically.
Okay, so I've never heard that before, and I'm gonna steal that. Sorry, I'm gonna
Okay.
steal that because I go like hard charging in, right? Like let's just, but you can't do it, right? If they don't
And
believe you, and it's a very feminine energy way to go about it because we are all so, as a whole, women are about caring for other people. So
yep,
if you say, hey, are you going to do it for the next generation? Are you going to do it for your aging parents? Like, are you and then you put them in the caretaker role, they're probably going to engage.
correct. And so I have friends who kindergarten is $25,000 a pop.
What?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And so when I'm like, what school do your kids go to? They're like, well, they're in public school, but I need to put them in private school. I have one in private, and I have another one that's getting ready to graduate to private. That's how I get them. I get real specific, and you can tie a dollar amount. And that's what changes their mindset. They have to make more money. They have to go ask for those significant increases because they got $25,000 worth of private school.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, that's really good. I appreciate that tip. I'll definitely leverage that with women who have kids. What about women who don't have kids though? Like, what do you do with them?
Yeah, I gotta think go in the think tank. Trips, international trips, first class tickets. I have a client, she experienced Emirates in first class. Well, she can't go back to coach on an international
Not anymore.
not anymore because I've been on those flights. And so I have a questionnaire and it's just a casual conversation. And they don't know that I'm gonna use this eventually against them, but for them.
What it's for them. It's
It's
for
just
them.
for them. It
Yeah,
is.
it's for
It,
them to get them to move or get them to think differently or what have you.
correct. It's like medicine. It's not gonna taste so good, but it's gonna be good for you. Yes.
Okay, okay, that's good. Yeah, that makes sense. One of the other things that I was thinking about is like project management. I wanted you to talk about this a little bit. So, project management, has a lot of like task orientation. Obviously, you're leading the projects, like all that stuff, but there's an heavy administration component because you're the one that's doing all that. And then the office mom thing, right? So, like, I'm just wondering if some of your folks it gets confusing and how you make sure that when you're a project manager, whether you are a PMP or not, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't want my male boss to be like, can you take notes for me on that since you're the project manager?
Oh
Or,
no.
you know what I mean? So I'm trying to delineate,
Okay, okay.
how do you stay powerful as a project manager, whether you're PMP or not, right? Because everyone, and I want to make this applicable to all my listeners, all the women on my call have managed a project before.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so I want to make sure that there's delineation between I'm not going to get your coffee. I'm not taking your notes for you. I'm not this, that, or the other, because I've worked with a couple project managers as clients and they're like doing all of this stuff. I have one in particular, and she was like not even tracking all of her hours. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like
Wait a
you've
minute.
become like the wastebasket of all administration, like not cool.
That, first of all, that is not a good environment. That is not project management. That
Okay.
is a project coordinator or an administrative, somebody to do. And I tell people in these meetings, first of all, I am not, you're in the meeting. Why would I take your action items and you're here? Make it make sense. And I had, once again, a white male has spoken up for me in a meeting. One day I
Mm,
was in a meeting, real quick example, and 20 males and just me. And everybody in the meeting was looking at me. And so he's looking at everybody looking at me. And he's like, why is everybody looking at Tamara? Oh, you think Tamara's going to take notes? Oh, hell no, she's not taking notes. He cursed them out. He was like, do you know how much we pay her an hour? He was like, I don't know specifically, but she's PMP certified. She's been in the industry 20 years. She's come from the PMO. She's only on capital projects. We pay her a lot. And damn it, she is not taking your damn notes. Like and that's what you need because we as women,
mm.
we can't always say it or feel comfortable saying it. So that's a misconception in project management is that project managers or people leading projects should take a lot of notes and do a lot of administrative. That is back in the olden days, and I still never did
Okay.
it. And I still didn't do it in the olden days, but everybody, we're all grown and everybody gets a check. And we're all
True.
responsible. And we do, as women, have to set the tone for that. Because sometimes I go into organizations, I'm not doing it. I am not. The end. And so project management
The end. Oh, that's funny.
it's a team sport. And so you have your finance, you have your tech team, you have sales and marketing, your vendors, you have legal, HR, everybody plays a role. Project management is a team sport and it should not be piled on the project manager. No, 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 no.
Okay. So if we have a situation where somebody listening is managing a project and they have a big group and they're being asked to kind of go beyond the purview, like take notes, do the minutes, like all that kind of stuff. How do you counsel those people? Because the reason that I said the office mom is that I've done a whole podcast on the office mom syndrome. I don't want this devolving where people don't see you as the leader of the project or you're managing the leadership of the project. So, like, what do you tell women to do in that scenario if they are in a toxic environment and like they don't have the person you had going, damn it, like she's not doing that for you? What do they do then?
So they do have to speak up for themselves and they have to set the tone, say, okay, good morning, happy Monday. So moving forward, everyone will be responsible for their own tasks because everybody's in the meeting and everybody's shorthand is different. Everybody comprehends in a different manner. Just make it professional. And so
Yes.
everybody's just going to take their own responsibilities moving forward as of today. And on
And
the
that's it.
call, we can use AI to take the notes, or you just, if it's contractual, because some projects are contractual that people have to take notes, but we'll have a scribe, a BA, a business analyst, a administrator, not the project manager that's making six figures. We don't take notes. No.
Okay. Okay. And so, for those that are interested in project management more formally as a career, how do they get started? And then my backup question, which we'll get to, is I don't know much about why they make like 30% more or why, right? So tell me about like someone that would want to get into project management, how do they get started in that career?
Okay. So the first thing is I believe everybody's a project manager. And the reason why I
Okay.
say that is everybody does initiatives, other duties assigned, and a definition of a project, it has a beginning and an end and a unique
Mhm.
product or service. So we're executing projects. We may not have the title of project manager, but we're doing it. So give an example, a teacher, an educator. I have
Mhm.
a ton of them that are doing curriculum for the school district. And they have to understand, is it reading? Is it mathematical curriculum? They get, the quotes from the vendors. They make the recommendations. They're going to use 3 or 4. They implement it to a small subgroup. The test scores go up. They implement it with the whole district. That's a project.
Mhm.
I can go on and on. So everybody's doing projects. So that's the first thing we have to understand. We're already doing projects. If you want more, formal training, you take a fundamentals course. Of course, I have my boot camp, but I get everybody to see you're already doing it. Project management, the PMP certification is giving you better tools to be more effective and efficient. That's what it's doing.
Mm. Mm. Okay. And so I don't know much about the PMP, like the testing, like the certification itself, but it sounds scary. So it sounds a little scary. Like I've taken, in my career, a Series 7, which is a
Mhm.
stockbroker's. That's
Yeah,
scary. I
yeah,
cried in the middle of that exam. Literally, I cried. I had like took a break, cried, came back, and it was 8 hours a million years ago. Yes.
absolutely. Yes. And so the exam itself is not as bad as it used to be. People
Okay.
on the doom and gloom internet will have you think it is. It used to be. But the new exam, it just makes sense. It's scenario based. What would you do? And it makes sense. So, for instance, if I'm backing out my car, I know the rules of the road. You got to put your seatbelt on. Well, I don't do that because I got to look both ways. I'm in the cul-de-sac, all of that. Can't hit the mailbox. So I back out and then I put my seatbelt on. But if I'm taking an exam, the correct answer is put your seatbelt on. And so we got to just understand what comes first, second, and third. But more importantly, it is not really about the test. Once again, it's learning
Mm.
more effective and efficient tools. So, an example, Jen, we're getting ready to put our house on the market. The toolbox is out, meaning the drill. We're doing all kind of improvements. Guess what? Most of those tools in the toolbox, I don't know what they're used for. I use the hammer, the Allen wrench, a screwdriver. But now we're using all those other tools because we're like, we need to, take the sockets and redo some things. So,
Sure.
so we're using some of the drill bits that we've never used before. That's what project management is. It is using new tools to do things more effectively and efficiently.
Okay. And for those folks that are like, this was kind of interesting to me and I want to get paid. Like, so why does a PMP get paid like 30+% more? Why?
Because we can come in the beginning, the middle, we can rescue a project and we can get it done. To give you an example, I've been in telecom, IT, application infrastructure, real estate, healthcare industry, airlines. I've even worked for a law firm. And they all understand that I can come in not knowing their industry and execute a project from beginning to end and do it successfully, on time and on
Mm,
budget. So you have the tools, you have quality in there, you have risk in there, you have HR in there, you have communication, you have so many tools that you're able to do. And so in the industry, it's just known that you don't have to have that expertise in the individual industry. You can just come in just like a consultant. If you
pretty
think
much.
if you think
Yes.
about it, I'm not gonna name all the top
Yes. Yeah. The
consulting
big ones.
companies.
Yeah.
They come in and you're like, here they come. But don't they come in, they assess what you're doing, they make recommendations, implement it. It's the same thing with project management.
There's a couple things in there. So not only does it protect you like in this type of economy, right? So like if you have that kind of background, the other thing that I had a manager probably 10 years ago he said about me as a quality, right? And I think this applies to a lot of women. So I'm not going to claim this alone. Is he says one of your biggest strengths is execution.
Yes.
And so, like, if the say do ratio is high, not everybody can say that they actually like they're walking the talk. They're, you know, they're literally executing from end to end. And I mean, obviously, if you're a PMP, that's like your love language is you're all about like, are we executing?
Getting it done. And you're on a good point. One of your previous guests, she talked about emotional intelligence.
Right.
And it's inherent in women. We just get shit done. And we use our intuition, our emotional intelligence, and we can make decisions that other people just can't see because we can see it. And we don't even know that's our superpower. So, once again, a lot of the inherent traits in project management we already have. I have a ton of women that have been stay-at-home moms. They chose to be, leave the workforce. And guess what? During that time, the PTA and all these school programs, and oh my God, they're executing projects. And I make them feel so confident when they go back to the workforce, they still get the raises, like nothing has changed.
See, that's so good. And I love what you're doing. And I'm not going to get political here. It's just, I think we're in a time where we need people like you out there to help women escalate and advance and, you know, get back into the workforce because we don't have like all of the structures and some of the structures might be changing or being like, you know, dismantled and things like that. And so it's time for people like you to help like women. I mean, when you said six figures, I'm sure there are women listening going, I'd like six figures. You know, I mean, and you're not guaranteeing it, but you're giving women an option that they may have not seen before because you're like, you understand you've been doing this job all along. Like, if you run a household, how many projects do you have on your plate at one time?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's my biggest one. So I speak at an executive admin conference a couple times a year, and I'm slated to speak at another one coming up. They are running these corporations. They're viewed as assistants, as administrators, as administrators, but they are running the companies. They're doing these corporate events. They have all these projects. They are PMPs in my boot camp, and they're making the money, and they have multiple choices of job offers. So once again, Jen and your audience, everybody, especially women, are project managers.
Mm, so good. And so, what about one thing before we kind of start wrapping up is that we've got people, maybe they're just out of college, they're, you know, running their first projects, you know, like they're greener than the grass, you know, like they're a little new, they're all that. What do you tell those folks, you know, especially women, as they're starting to lead their first projects?
So understand your biggest asset is that you are green. And what that means is you don't have a lot of corporate baggage. And you need
Mm,
to recognize that that is your value add. So let me be
mhm,
very clear. All the organizations I work for, we have interns, and those interns come in, and just like me going into a new industry, I'm asking a lot of questions. Well, that's
mhm.
my superpower because I'm not in the airline industry. I don't know the federal government alphabet before I joined. And so everybody's been sitting there 20, 30 years, and here I come, here's a person's fresh out of college. Well, why are you doing it this way? Or where did you get that from? Or have you thought about this? And everybody's sitting there like, it's a good idea, or we didn't think about that. And so if you're fresh out of college, you have to know, and this is what my aunt told me, you don't know anything. She wasn't that nice about it. You need to soak up and be a sponge, but your asset is to ask a lot of questions and provide that value. Your your
Mm.
your youth. So they
Yes, I love that. You know, coming like leveraging your youth as a strength and not as an Achilles heel. Like so many people look at it in the wrong direction, but if you say, "Oh wow, I'm coming in with a beginner's mind,"
yeah.
then it's going to really make a difference. The other thing I've been really thinking about beginner's mind lately, and I want to share this before we move on, is that I think even in mid career or in later career, and this is a big challenge for a lot of people, women included, is that you get kind of in ruts mentally of how things are done on a project or anything, right? And what I will say is challenge yourself. So I found out last year, I did a lot of traveling, Tamara, last year, and I rediscovered something about myself, that my reset button to beginner's mind is to travel. And so I go to a new place I've never seen, and I just look at it in like awe and the majesty of this earth. And I get like the mental beginner's mind. I get the reset button. And so I guess I would challenge, if you say, well, I've been in my job for 15 years, blah, blah, that kind of stuff. I'm gonna challenge you, as we're wrapping up. I'm gonna challenge you to like find what is the way you can get to beginner's mind so that you can ask questions and you can be curious and find joy in new pockets and new ways, because you can even in mid or later career.
Absolutely. So, Jen, even before you answered the question when you first asked it, mine is travel. I've been to
Same.
over, I've been to over 25 countries. So
Wow.
every year me and my husband or by myself, because since COVID, I've been traveling by myself, where I just have to go somewhere and sit on a damn beach for like 2 weeks, not have a computer, just reading books and eating all day and just
Sounds so good.
it's necessary. It used to be a luxury, but I didn't do it last year. I went on girls' trips, international and different trips, but I never went on that just be still, be quiet trip. And I am paying for it. I really am. So I'm getting ready to do a staycation because I have got to do it because you come out fresh. You don't have, and it takes a minute to come down. So you can't just do a weekend. So you have to
No.
go, have a good time, rest, and then have a clear mind and then start thinking. So you need like a week or two to do this, to really do it well.
Yes, and we understand that some of you can't do that. Even if you could take, I'll take anything from a few days to a couple weeks. Like if we can get you a couple weeks, like glorious. But don't like say, "Oh, I can't do that," and throw this idea out the window either. So,
And that's the point. You should be able to. You should be making the money and your company gives you vacation, use it. And so that's the whole mentality, the corporate baggage. You have all this time and you don't use it. And so going back to a European company that I work for, they made us take two-week vacations.
wow,
Jen, I'm telling you, I was 23 or 4. I
wow.
I requested 1 week off. Do you know they brought me in the office? My manager, my director, and my VP were in there. Girl, I thought I was gonna get fired. And they were like, what are you gonna do with that little funky week vacation? And he was like, he's taking a month, he's taking a month, he's taking a month. And I told them what I was doing. They were like, stop, stop, stop. You cannot do all of that in 1 week. You're going to come back exhausted. You have to
Mm.
take at least 2 weeks. And so I have a European mindset when it comes to work.
That's amazing. Okay, so I have to ask just because I'm a curious person,
Okay.
right? We talked about beginner's mind. So you did 25 countries. Give me like maybe your top 2 to 3, like your favorite spots. So if people are like inspired to take their vacation, and everybody take your vacation,
Okay.
they can like book these trips. So three, maybe your top 3.
I love Dubai. Oh my God. The Middle East is amazing. Now it's a little commercial. I was going back in probably 10 years ago. I loved it, wanted to move there. I love Europe. Anything UK, I love it. I love to eat and just the fast pace. Bali. Oh my God. I wanted to move to Bali if it wasn't that far. So give me a beach, Aruba. But yeah, those are my top ones.
Okay, so I haven't. Okay, I've been to the
Switzerland.
UK, Switzerland.
Switzerland. Oh my God. I have the worst allergies. I have never breathed so good in my life. That air is so clean and so fresh. Yes.
Okay, everybody. Okay, so I've been to Switzerland, I've been to the UK, I have not been to Dubai or the Middle East, and I have not been to Bali. So Bali's on my list, Dubai's on my list. So I gotta hit those places for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so I also, just one last thing, I'm going to Mallorca, Spain in 2026. I know. Come on, that's fun. That's fun. It's gonna be
Yes.
lots of fun. Yeah.
Lots of good food in Spain. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's good stuff over there. Yeah, everybody, Europe, just get over to Europe. You're not going to go wrong. Just like land, just start exploring.
Yeah.
So okay, so what do you believe are 1 to 2? We've covered a lot of it, but I want to kind of summarize. What are 1 to 2 ways that you believe women can be braver at work today?
They can, I'm not going to just say speak up, but it may be professional development time and ways that women can improve themselves. Number one, know your worth. And when I say know your worth, really know what you're contributing to the organization. And a lot of women, we sit there and we think that our bosses should remember what we've done. Well, Jen, what did you eat 2 Tuesdays ago?
Mm,
You don't know.
yeah. Yeah.
How do you expect your boss who manages multiple people to know what you've done for the whole year? So we have to put in bullets, quick, quantifiable bullets. I have reduced this. I have completed this. Just real quick bullets and remind them what you've done. So know your worth, know what you have contributed, and do it afraid. Do it scared, do it anyway. I'm always scared asking about money or asking for when I have a speaking engagement, I have to negotiate. I'm scared too. But guess what? I do it anyway. So
Well,
that's what
and on the other side, aren't you like, you kind of come back to yourself and you're like, wow, I am really a badass. Like, I mean, don't you feel good after the other side?
I
Pretty
do.
girl boss. Yeah.
Yes, I do. And I think about, okay, I don't have biological kids, but I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and they're super expensive. And so
Yes.
I just push myself out there. So I'm coaching myself. I got a niece that is needing another car. She needs a car. So I got to ask for more money.
Okay. Yes. So you use like your own tools for
Ab-
yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, where can women find you, connect with you online if they're interested in the PMP certification process? Give us all the information and then we'll put it in the show notes.
So I can be reached at iwantmypmp.com.
That's great.
Easy enough. iwantmypmp.com. And please follow me on LinkedIn. That is where I hang out socially, all my gems and nuggets, and you get to meet my community. So those are the two places.
Okay, great. Well, Tamara, I had such a fun time. It was great jamming with you for this 45 minutes or so. But so thank you. And thank you for being a light in this world and doing the work that you do.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. I appreciate the time.
Well, that's a wrap on my discussion with Tamara today. I hope you found our conversation both valuable and inspiring. Here is a quick exercise I thought about until next time. So, what corporate baggage do you carry? Is it a need to be perfect at work or at home at all costs? Speaking about work, maybe you can't possibly ask a question in a meeting or in front of your boss or a certain peer. Or maybe you have a belief that no one will take you seriously. So once you identify that baggage, whatever it is, do one of two things. So the first thing is to write down the baggage, that the word or the phrase or the couple sentences on one or two, few pieces of paper. Fold up the paper so you can no longer see the words. From there, you're going to do a small ceremony of getting rid of the baggage. So if you have a fire pit in your backyard or some sort of fire-safe container, you can burn the pieces of paper. So I have to stress, be safe if you decide to use some sort of fire pit to get rid of those pieces of paper, but it's super powerful to get rid of those things. And if you don't feel comfortable using some sort of like fire safe container, do the opposite. You can use water. It takes longer, but you can use water. So you can put the paper in a bowl of water and let it sit there for a while until the words get like really blurry. It might take, a few hours and almost unreadable where it gets like really fuzzy looking. And if that doesn't work, you can simply get rid of the papers by throwing them away or putting them in a shredder or some other way. Like I got rid of old journals that weren't serving me because there was a lot of baggage in there and I just took it to a large shredding company. I think it may have been like something near like an Iron Mountain or something like that. But I went to a big like shred party, or you can go to a financial institution that have a shred day or the library or whatever. The big point here is to get rid of the baggage through this process because you will feel cleansed on the other side of it. And then you can have more clarity, more space, and more peace to move forward. And at the end of that process of getting rid of that paper, whether it's in a fire-safe container, again, be safe, using water, or simply throwing it away, shredding it, any other way to discard it, I would welcome you to take 3 deep breaths and then say out loud to yourself, I let this go. I let this baggage go. I let this baggage go. I let this baggage go. If you need to do this multiple times, do what you need to, because at the end of the day, this is your ceremony. This is your way to drop that baggage, to take up more space, and to be braver at work and in your life. I believe in you. I love you all, and you can do this. As a reminder, please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast in Apple Podcasts and Spotify. The show is also available on any other podcast platform you enjoy. Until next time, show up, release your baggage, and be brave.